Hmm. Hmm. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. At 7 o'clock, excuse me, we're, Senator Turner will be leaving about 6:55, but we will pick up Mark Fancher at the top of the next hour. You should have all of that there. I'm sorry. Thank you, Reverend Leon. Right. How are you? I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Okay. Pastor Williams? Hi. I am doing fine. I'm doing well. How are you? That is wonderful. Okay, let's see. Okay, Matt, if you can bring this down just a bit so I can hear Pastor. Goodness. Okay, Pastor, how you doing? I am doing fine. It's great hearing your voice today. Okay. 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 Okay, we will be coming up shortly. Matt, how much time do we have? Okay, I think he is not in there. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, everybody, let's have a great show. All right, Pastor, let us have a great show. So we're coming up now. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Santita Jackson Show. Yes, you hear my printer in the background. It hadn't intended for that to happen, but it's Friday, February 17th, 2023. It is a joy to be with you today. Getting ready for this mayoral election here in Chicago. It's on the 28th. Of course, we'll be giving you wall-to-wall coverage here on WCPT, and of course, my brothers and sisters to the north in Minneapolis, St. Paul, they'll be tuning in to AM 950 radio. This is the Santita Jackson Show, coming to you from WCPT 820, the nation's largest progressive talk radio station, and AM 950 radio, the voice of progressive Minnesota. We've got a lot to talk about today. As we've been looking up in the sky and looking at all of the balloons and the unidentified objects, what we have been missing is what's happening down here on the ground in East Palestine, Ohio. A looming disaster of untold proportions is unfolding. And the people of Ohio, the people on the ground, the people you're not seeing it reported or being spoken to in corporate media, are frightened to death. And if you listen to many scientists, given the toxins that are coming out of the train, that have flowed into the streams, anecdotal evidence shows that people's pets and their animals have died. People have been getting sick. People have been breaking out, and on and on and on. This is a real issue that we're just beginning to touch upon, but we really, really, really need to know much, much, much more about it. And so we're going to be talking about what actually happened on the ground there with former Ohio State Senator Nina Turner. Yes, that's right. From the Young Turks, she's got her show. We're going to be talking about that a bit too. And attorney Robert Patillo, attorney C.K. Hoffler, attorney Mark Fancher is going to join us at the top of the hour to talk about who should be sued, if anyone should be sued at all. What do you think about that? We're all prey to these environmental disasters, particularly as it relates to trains. There were more than 140 cars on that train. 1.9 miles long was that train. Yeah. So think about that, everybody. And then we're going to be talking with mayoral candidate, Alderman Rod Sawyer. And you know, his father was Eugene Sawyer, one of our mayors. He was the mayor immediately after Harold Washington and did such great work, never really got credit for it, never got credit for all the work that he did in their ward, the 6th Ward, which is where Alderman Sawyer is today. And I can't wait to hear from him because we'll be interviewing every candidate I can get. They're lining up as we speak so that we can hear what they have to say and what they plan to do, not just for Chicago, but what they could do that could help urban America, because certainly we do need an agenda that could help urban America. And of course, we have got Dr. Shanita Knight and Pastor Tisha Dixon Williams. So let's get to some of these headlines so that we can get to the rest of the show. In Chicago, well, we got snow overnight, everybody. 27 degrees, partly cloudy. It's going to be a cold, chilly day. I can already feel it, but you know, it's all right, everybody. Minneapolis, St. Paul, 30 degrees. It will be sunny. It is NBA All-Star Weekend. Yes, and you will see my father sitting on the sidelines. He loves that. He loves it. He loves these sporting events. Who you got, the East or the West? I don't know. It's going to be a great game. And lots of games going on around the NBA All-Star Weekend. And so it's out in Utah. It's going to be fantastic. But last night, the Bucks were triumphant over the Bulls, 112-100. The Wizards, they got the best of the Timberwolves, 114-106. In the NHL, tonight we're going to have an active night. The Chicago and Minnesota teams will be playing. Chicago will be playing the Senators, and the Stars will be playing the Wild. We are still finding survivors in Turkey. In particular, we're not hearing a lot about Syria. Isn't that interesting? Indeed, the lion's share of the international aid has gone to Turkey. I hope we're not forgetting about Syria, everybody. All right, everybody. More than many days, more than 200 hours after this earthquake, we're still finding survivors. Thank God for that. President Joe Biden yesterday said his administration still doesn't know exactly what the mysterious objects over North American airspace were, but there's no indication, according to this CNN report, that they were tied to China's spy balloon program or, quote, surveillance vehicles, close quote, from other countries. Indeed, there was a report on CNN early this morning about young kids. You know, they have these science experiments where they are able to employ balloons that go way up into the atmosphere. So perhaps that's it. We don't know, but we will see. And maybe the government doesn't know. We don't know, but so far, according to the president, we are safe. At least 3 more people have been pulled alive from the rubble of a devastating earthquake in Turkey and Syria, everybody. 10 days after it struck parts of Turkey and Syria. 17-year-old was rescued 248 hours after this earthquake struck, and more people keep being found. But sadly, 44,000 people have died in the region following this powerful 7.8 magnitude earthquake. State and federal officials held a news conference Thursday in East Palestine, Ohio, as residents expressed frustration about the response to a train 1.9 miles long, everybody, more than 140 cars, carrying potentially deadly materials that derailed in their town nearly 2 weeks ago. Michael S. Regan, the head of the EPA, aimed to reassure residents that authorities are focused on keeping them safe, while many residents say, we don't trust the government. What do you say? We're going to be talking about that today on the Santita Jackson Show. And those are just some of the headlines on the Santita Jackson Show. Let us get to Pastor Tisha Dixon Williams. She has got a fantastic book. I See You, Sis. This is about the great women of the Bible. Of course, their roles have always been underplayed, but when you read this book, it will give you a whole new look at this great holy text. Pastor of the First Baptist Church of Bridgehampton, New York, Pastor Tisha Dixon Williams. How you doing today? It's wonderful hearing your voice. Mm. Amen to that. I love that. I love it. I love it. You're worth it to me. You're worth it to me. And I guess we are all like old pennies. Goodness gracious, we go from pocket to pocket, place to place. I don't even think we know just what this journey is until you look back on it. I mean, I think everybody should have the blessing of writing their bio or seeing their bio written, Pastor, because it really helps you to see, wow, what a life it's been, right? I love it. I love it. You're worth it to me. You're worth it to me. And I guess we are all like old pennies. Oh, well, you know what, God, thank you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. We need that today. We need that because it really does make a difference when, hmm, well, it's like the colonizers and the colonizers. Who's telling the story? It changes who's telling the story. Pastor Tisha Dixon Williams, very quickly before we go, how can we worship with you on Sunday? Sending you so much love, sending you so much love. We just love you, love you, love you, love you. And God bless you. We're going to bring up Dr. Shanina Knighton, infection preventionist. We have a lot of questions for her today. She's out there in Ohio where they're having this emergency. We're going to be talking about that today because, we have a lot of, Chicago is geographically, culturally, politically in the center of the United States. And all you have to do is really go west and see, well, just go through the city and see how trains really, we're the crossroads of America. And so what's happened in East Palestine, Ohio, is of great import. It should be for everybody because more than a third of our goods are moved through the United States by the trains. And the people in East Palestine, Ohio, and those who are in these surrounding areas are understandably frightened and they're understandably mistrustful of what government officials are telling them because we have not been told the truth many, 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 many times. So we're going to be talking about that today. Can anyone be sued? And just what is leaking? And what can you do if you find out that you have a leak in your neighborhood? And that's why I want to talk to Dr. Knighton today. If you find yourself in the midst of this kind of emergency, what do you do? They're being told to drink bottled water. How does that impact your bathing? I mean, because you might think that, okay, I'm not using any water, but what about your ice, right? What about bathing? What about? We use water all the time. Dr. Shanita Knighton, how you doing today? Oh, I'm doing well. Just a little concerned, though, more than a little concerned about what's happening in East Palestine, Ohio, and still what's happening in Flint and what's happening in Chicago, what's happening in Detroit, what's happening in Jackson, Mississippi. We've got a lot of toxins that are leaking, spilling into our cities, our lakes, our tributaries. What concerns me immediately about East Palestine, Ohio, is that it's in the Great Lakes region and all these lakes and tributaries and streams go into Lake, what we got it by Holmes, Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, and Superior. I mean, all these Great Lakes are connected to each other, so we're not disconnected from this disaster. Should you come upon this kind of disaster, as an infection preventionist, what would you immediately tell people to do? They've been told, okay, don't drink the water from the faucet. Use the water use bottled water. Does that mean that you wash your hands with the bottled water too? I mean, does that mean you just don't use the water? I mean, what does it mean? Mm-hmm. But let me say this. I don't have the credentials that you have. I'm just saying, you know what? Let me give you what happened to me anecdotally. I was told before I went to work in Hong Kong. Hong Kong has bacterium that are that are quite alien to those of us who live in the West. And so I was very careful, or so I thought. I was working with Miss Flack, and, it takes you a day to get over there almost. And so when I got there and it was muggy hot, I mean, this is like one of the most humid places on earth. When I finally got to the hotel, and we were in this fabulous hotel, and it was new. They had this huge jacuzzi in the room. So I filled it up with water. Yes, I did, and got in it. When I got back to the United States about a week later, I was so sick. And I said, I don't know. I didn't drink any of the water. I don't even, I was taking a bath twice a day. So I thought I was avoiding everything, and I'm immersing myself in it. Dr. Knighton. Mhm. Mm. Mm. Well, I'm just very, very concerned, and I think that is it inconceivable that this, I mean, should we all be concerned about this? I mean, I think because, I'm like, this is Great Lakes, the Great Lakes are all connected to each other. And, now these toxins are in the air. And I've just been reading different, assessments from different research scientists who are highly regarded, they're highly credentialed, and they're like, look, this is really serious. And while we're looking up in the sky for balloons, and I'm all about Area 51 and the aliens and all of that, but we got a real problem right down here on Earth. And the people of East Palestine and the surrounding areas are frightened to death. And they've been told to go back into their homes. I wouldn't go back into my home. I'm just keeping it 100 with you. I wouldn't do it. But if you're poor and working class, where can you go? Hmm. Amen. Look, because guess what? Whether you like it or not, we are one people. We are connected to each other. We breathe the same air, drink the same water. Yes, we do. So, coming up, let's talk about the people of East Palestine. Let's talk about Palestine, Ohio. Let's talk about what's happening there with, that's right, Nina Turner, our girl. Dr. Knighton, love you so much, everybody. Her handle is, hey, Dr. Nina, Heydrnina. And stay right there, Dr. Nina, so you can say hello to our sister. That's right, the great Senator Nina Turner and attorneys Robert Patillo and C.K. Hoffler. What's going on in Ohio? Back in just a minute. Thank you, Dr. Knighton. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Did Dr. Knighton leave? Okay, Dr. Knighton? I don't know. Maybe. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Hey, Mike Wilson from Houston, Texas. How you doing? I'm so glad you're with us today. Hi. How are you? Renee, how you doing, everybody? I am getting a new computer. And so next week you will be able to hear me, see me, but I know you all really, really like the visual experience. So please go to WCPT820.com or AM950radio.com so that you can hear all the audio, but at least I can say hello to you. We're going to be talking with former Ohio State Senator Nina Turner about what's happening in East Palestine, Ohio. It's something of great concern to her, not just because she is um, uh, well, she's a resident of Ohio, but we're all connected to this, everybody. We need to see the people who are combating this. They still don't have paid sick leave. The railroad workers, they don't. So this is a big, big, big deal. And the Obama administration, for their portion, tried to impose or institute greater more regulations upon the railroad industry, which they pushed back upon fervently. And now here we are. Look at this. We had another derailment and then another. And these, more than a third of our goods and a great many of these dangerous chemicals are transported by train. So did you see that cloud that went up in the air, that chemical cloud that went up in there? Yeah, I know that. I remember that much about college chemistry. Ridiculous. And then they tell people, oh, just go back home. Are you serious? But the thing is, we don't have a system in the United States that can take care of people when there's an emergency, when there's a disaster. If you don't have a lot of money, if you don't have means, you are stuck. Think of the people down in Louisiana when we had Hurricane Katrina. When they were telling people to evacuate, you assume that people have cars or access to cars. You assume that people have money. They might be in between a paycheck or getting a government check. And most people live from payday to Monday anyway, even if you thank you, Lynn Richardson, brilliant financial consultant. Payday to Monday. And that includes people, more and more people who are making $100,000 a year or more. People are struggling out here. So we've got to talk about that. Chapearl, how you doing? Hey, Miss Cuckoo Robinson and Michael Ann. Oh, it's lovely to see you, my Michael Ann. One of my first, you and Paula. Oh boy. Lorraine, you all have been with me from jump. Okay, well, we'll get her. We'll get her. Because I know she's going to an event. So I'm catching her. So just let me know when you do get her. Okay, I appreciate it. Can I speak to everybody who's here? Okay. Hey, Attorney Hoffler. I am doing well. And Attorney Patillo. Good morning. And Chapearl. Good morning. How are you all? Okay, stand by. Ooh-wee. Do this. Got me talking to myself. Goodness gracious. Okay. CK, did you know this train, and Robert, do you know this train was 1.9 miles long? Stand by. Ridiculous. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Santita Jackson Show. That's right. It's Friday, February 17th, 2023. It is a joy to be with you this morning as we talk about what's happening in East Palestine, Ohio. I think that the corporate media have been misleading us. Certainly, we want to make sure that our airspace is safe. We want to make sure that we're not under attack from, international, I'm not going to say enemies, but certainly opponents. And if there are other life forms out there, and all indications are that there are, we want to make sure that we're not under attack, but we can't assume that they're coming to attack us either, right? Some beings could be coming in peace. Think of Dr. Spock, who couldn't understand war and our hostilities. It just didn't make sense to him. But now let's talk about what's happening right down here on Earth. Dr. King, to paraphrase him, talked about being so caught up in, getting to heaven, being so heavenly focused that you are no earthly good. We've got a real disaster. We have had a couple more train derailments, and a couple of these trains are carrying dangerous toxins. And we've got to talk about that. We've got to talk about a train that's 1.9 miles long, 140 plus cars. Why? They've gotten longer and longer and longer as they try to compete with the truckers. And they still will not give their workers paid work leave. So the people who have to clean this mess up, if they get sick, well, too bad, too sad. Because guess what? They still can't get paid sick leave. It's ridiculous. But before we get to that, our girl, Chapearl, is going to have a big event at the beginning of March. How you doing, Chapearl? Thank you so much. Hey, everybody. Please support that foundation. And there are so many churches and other organizations, Women of Achievement. I think of them. I think of the sororities and the Divine Nine and the fraternities who are seeking to send our kids to school. Please be supportive when people make these appeals to you. So let's get right to it. What happened? In East Palestine, Ohio. Of course, we've got attorney C.K. Hoffler, one of the most esteemed lawyers in the country, if not the world, former president of the National Bar Association, the largest and oldest Black bar association in the world. You see her on MSNBC, you see her on ABC analyzing politics. And of course, she's a legal analyst on Court TV and the chair of the board of Rainbow Push. And we've got another Rainbow Push, brilliant lawyer and radio host. They both host on WAOK. She is on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and he is from 1 to 4 every Sunday on WAOK. Of course, none other than attorney Robert Patillo. But we are so excited right now, before we catch her running into a meeting, to catch this woman who really keeps us all fired up. And you got to see her show on the Young Turks Network, Unbossed, with Nina Turner. And of course, she's a senior fellow at the Institute on Race, Power, and Political Economy at the New School up in New York. She's everywhere because we need her every place. The great former state senator, Nina Turner. Senator Turner, how you doing, my sister? Well, they wanted to get in on this, but of course, you are in Ohio. You have been a state elected official there. You're held in such great esteem. I want to know, first of all, what are you hearing out of East Palestine? And what are you hearing just in Ohio about this, what to me, it's a looming disaster, and it's not gotten the attention that it really, really needs. I mean, they told the people to go back home and just use the bottled water. I said, wait. You have a train that's 1.9 miles long, Senator Turner, 1.9 miles long. The trains keep getting longer and longer and longer. It was having problems before it pulled into East Palestine, and now we've got a disaster, I think. Talk to me. Mm. Would you say that one more time? Civil War. Come talk to me. Well, let me ask you this: would you go back to you, to that house? Hmm. We're talking with former Ohio State Senator, yes, this state senator from the Young Turks. Of course, her show Unbossed. When can we see Unbossed on the Young Turks Network? Go to Unbossed YouTube, Unbossed Nina on YouTube. How about that piece? Yeah, and share it, everybody. Before I, spread some of this love, because these are some people who I'm always looking to put folks on different shows. You got to have uh, the former law partner, and she still works with the great Willie Gary, attorney Willie Gary, attorney C.K. Hoffler, this brilliant lawyer who has been with Reverend Jackson since he was a college student at Clark in Atlanta, attorney Robert Patillo. I just, you have the EPA administrator walking through, and I don't doubt that he means well. But the corporations have taken over our government, and our government increasingly works for, speaks for, and for them. I'm just trying to figure out how you treat these people this way. Because these folks, they're saying, now I heard on MSNBC early this morning, and everybody, I listen to all the shows before I come on here. And sometimes I do interviews because I want to hear how Fox, everybody, I want to hear how everyone, I tune into Al Jazeera, I tune into everybody so I can find out how stories are being reported. And the early morning show on MSNBC, just prior to Morning Joe, uh, they he the anchor was a little cheeky about people who were trying to figure out what's happening in East Palestine, and he was calling them conspiracy theorists and all the conspiracy theories going on about this particular tragedy. I said, "Are you serious right now? You say this from the comfort of a hermetically sealed studio in New York. You don't have to deal with this. If you have a disaster, you have some place to go. Working class people, poor people, middle class people, and even some upper middle class people do not have any place to go. It costs a whole lot of money to move. And if you don't have insurance, and your insurance, the fight you have with your insurance. So what's happening now? What are they going to do? I just, so what is next? I mean, because you have been a state senator, you have been a city councilwoman. I mean, on the local level, I mean, and I know East Palisade doesn't have any money. I know they don't. On the state level, what can be done? I mean, and I think, you know what? I think they need to be loaded up onto some buses and they need to sit in at the EPA in DC. That's what they just need. Just go to their lunchroom. How about that? Mhm. Yes, that's right. Well, it's a corporatocracy, right? We keep talking about the democracy, but from the right and the left, because look, both parties are private companies that have cultural appeals. That's all it is. Mhm. Amen. That's right. Ohio State Senator, former Ohio State Senator, but you always keep that handle because you've served the people. Nina Turner, everybody, the Young Turks. How can we see you, hear you, and hear about this? Mhm. Oh, yeah. Nothing but love. Nothing but love. Unbossed Nina, everybody on YouTube, the Young Turks Television Network. That's what we want to support her show because we need her giving voice on the progressive side from this perspective. And we just thank God for you, Nina Turner. Let me pivot to you. I just love you, love you, love you. But I'm going to pivot to the former NBA president, National Bar Association president, the chair of Rainbow Push, and legal analyst on Court TV, C.K. Hoffler. I am just stunned. People, I have been reading news reports since the day after this happened. People had, they have chickens in their backyards. They have dogs. They have cats. They've been dying. And then you call these people conspiracy theorists. I'm like, are you serious right now? Yeah, that part. How dare you do that to people? And how can you tell them that, oh, just go have bottled water? CK. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But the Biden Department of Justice is backing Northern Southern, their bid to block lawsuits. And see, this is where personalizing our politics is very dangerous. Because I like President Biden, and personally, he is a great guy. That has nothing to do with this. You can't. It's just like if I get injured by some medicines, particularly shots, I can't sue. That came under the Reagan administration, which corporatized, which really locked in the corporatization of our government. I've got about 30 seconds, literally, because before I have to go to break. What is the deal? Hmm. And you know what else will work? Demonstration, litigation, and demonstration. These people need to get on some buses, or have some buses need to be sponsored for them. They need to go to DC and sit in on the mall and sit in at EPA. They should not play. They should not take their feet off the gas. And I'm going to talk with you, Robert, about that, Robert Patillo, when we get back on the other side. And of course, Attorney Mark Fancher and the great Attorney C.K. Hoffler. What should happen? What if this were us? This train was 1.9 miles long. Why? Why 140 plus cars? Are you serious? They keep getting longer and longer and longer because they're trying to compete with truckers. It's just greed. Back with more of the Santita Jackson Show in just a minute. Okay. CK? Ooh, ooh. Hello, hello? You all there? Ooh. Oh, okay, good. Well, unfortunately, I'm on tie line today, you guys, which is why you cannot hear me over StreamYard and Facebook. But we will work all of this out. Can't do that today, but coming up at the bottom of the hour, we're going to have mayoral candidate Rod Sawyer. You know, his father was Eugene Sawyer, the mayor who immediately preceded Harold Washington. And, there was just this big brouhaha when he became the mayor. And what was so unfortunate about that was that this great man's record was lost. He had more people registered, CK, in his ward, person for person, than any ward in the country. He had people very politically involved and very politically educated. And he was the first city councilman to support Harold Washington, which was a big, big, big thing for him to do. It was a big deal because that means he had to go up against the machine. When it was not certain that Harold Washington was going to win. Not at all. And so for him, the hit that he took in history has always bothered me. Always bothered me. And his son used to be a stockbroker. He's been in the financial world, and he became an alderman within the past 10 years. Wonderful, wonderful guy. And he is really dedicating himself, going into his family's, really into the family lineage, teaching, which is what his mother was, and serving people. And so I'm really glad, I'm honored that he's going to be with us. We're kicking off all of these. I'm going to be interviewing the candidates for the next few days. Yep. Got to do that. So, so we can hear. But you know what I sent in the email that I sent you? I sent that. I'm sure you'd already heard about it, but the Biden DOJ is backing Norfolk Southern's bid to block lawsuits. And, I'm going to go to you directly, since we haven't heard from you, Robert, to ask you about that. Because it's just disgusting, and it really, when you think about when people give you an evacuation order, where are you going? I mean, unless you are a person of means and significant monies, you can't go anywhere, CK. Mm. Oh. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You remember Katrina. You remember what happened to those people? Those people, they were like, why didn't they leave New Orleans? Where could they go? They had no money. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, it was horrible. It was horrible. And then, here you wouldn't. Oh, that was awful. I mean, when my father came from Venezuela, uh, President Chavez, who was obviously alive at the time, was trying to send marine hospitals to the United States because it came from the South. The storm did, and he said to Reverend, he said, Reverend, this is going to be bad. So I think he had arranged for like five or six marine hospitals. The Bush administration refused them. Like, really? They could have gotten there quicker than the stuff from Saudi Arabia. Are you serious? And then when you got there, they wouldn't let the white people wouldn't let the blacks cross the bridge. You remember that, CK and Robert? I mean, what? And then the Bush administration changed the Labor Department rules, which enabled people from the South, that is, people from South and Central America, to come here to be paid little or nothing to rebuild the area. They wouldn't even hire people from New Orleans and Mississippi and the Gulf region to rebuild where they lived. Oh, please. Look, we got a lot of work to do. Oh, Matt. Oh, I'm going to have a live read for Hochberg, just so that you know. After I do the headlines, it'll be real quick. Robert, you still there, hon? Okay. And Mark Venture, okay. Well, I'm coming to you guys. We'll be right there. Stand by. Great hearing you. Right here. Stay right there. Hey, everybody, it's Friday, February 17th, 2023, WCPT 820, the nation's largest progressive talk radio station at AM 950 Radio, the voice of progressive Minnesota. And if you all check me out on YouTube, I know we're gonna work out these sound issues by next week. And of course, AM 950 Radio. You can go to WCPT820.com or AM950radio.com to get full audio. But we're talking about what's happening in East Palestine, Ohio. It's not at the top of the corporate media's headlines, but it needs to be at the top of your headlines. We have more than a third of the goods in the United States are moved around by rail car. And we have a catastrophic event that is occurring as we speak. Yes, I'm speaking in the active tense in East Palestine, Ohio. And these, the residents have been told, no, just get some bottled water. You're going to be okay. Are you serious right now? And where can they go? These are poor people, poor working people. They don't. Even if they had someplace even if they wanted to go someplace, they can't afford it. So we got to talk about this. Who is culpable? As the Biden administration, as the Department of Justice under this administration is blocking you and me from being able to sue in something like in a case like this. You can't sue the company. Norfolk Southern, they can walk away scot-free or with very, very little indemnity. It's not right. We're going to talk about that right now. And then at the bottom of the hour, Alderman Roderick Sawyer from the 6th Ward here in Chicago. We have our mayoral race. He's one of the candidates. That's right. On the 28th, that will be the last day to vote. We're voting early now, and you can vote in your wards. Everybody, please check out where you can vote and call 1-866-OUR-VOTE if you have any problems when you get to the polls. Let's get to some of these headlines. In Chicago, 27 degrees, partly cloudy. Minneapolis, St. Paul, 30 degrees, sunny. The NBA All-Star Weekend. Who you got, the East or the West? Who's going to win? I don't know. It's going to be great. There are all these other games that are going on around the NBA All-Star Weekend. It's going to be fantastic, everybody. The Bucks were triumphant over the Bulls, 112-100. The Wizards, 114. The Timberwolves, 106. In the NHL, we're going to have a rare treat. Chicago and Minnesota are playing tonight. Chicago will be playing the Senators, and the Stars will be playing the Wild. President Biden, according to this CNN report on Thursday, said his administration still doesn't know exactly, as he put it, what the mysterious objects over North American airspace were, but there's no indication they were tied to China's spy balloon program or surveillance vehicles from other countries. At least 3 more people have been pulled alive from the rubble of a devastating earthquake 10 days later, everybody. 248 hours after the February 6th earthquake, people are being pulled from the rubble. Wow, wow, wonderful news. But tragically, 44,000 people have died in the region, according to this CNN report. And the lion's share of the aid has gone to the people of Turkey. What about the people of Syria? They've been impacted too. Let's not forget that, everybody. And of course, we're talking about the Ohio toxic train, as CNN reports it. State and federal officials held a news conference yesterday in East Palestine, Ohio, as residents expressed frustration about the response to the train carrying potentially deadly materials that derailed in their town nearly 2 weeks ago. Not potentially, they are deadly materials, everybody. Deadly, deadly, deadly. And they're being told that the answer at this moment is to have bottled water. Everybody, we've been talking about financial freedom, and I want you to reach out to Team Hochberg. Team Hochberg. What will they do? They will help you to buy your home, save your home, sell your home. They've got a wonderful program, Perks at Work. And you need to hear what they're able to do, because if you're selling your home or purchasing a new home and would like to save thousands of dollars or make thousands of dollars, Team Hochberg is your partner. And they are your trusted local lender. They're offering everyone this Perks at Works benefit through the end of April, and you need to get in on it, everybody. It can save you thousands of dollars the next time you buy or sell a home. Here's how it works. When a Team Hochberg affiliated realtor sells your home, they'll reduce their fee up to 1%. That's thousands of dollars, everybody. When a Team Hochberg affiliated realtor helps you to purchase a home, you will receive up to 1% of their commission as a closing cost credit. Again, thousands of dollars. Team Hochberg will credit their loan origination fee, and their affiliated attorney will reduce their fee. Thousands of dollars that could go to you, everybody. A couple saved close to $9,000 by being involved in this Perks at Work program, and it could be yours. When they sold their home and purchased a new home, all of these fees added up to nearly $9,000. What about you? It could be you. To learn how to save thousands of dollars, how to make thousands of dollars, please call Team Hochberg at 855-56-DAVID, 855-56-DAVID, or visit them at 56david.com, 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843, or 56david.com. They are your equal housing lender. Let's talk about what's happening in East Palestine, Ohio. We've been hearing from former Ohio State Senator Nina Turner. Yes, that Nina Turner. Of course, she's on the Young Turks at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time today. And you can go to Unbossed Nina on YouTube so you can hear her great show. And we've got attorney C.K. Hoffler, legal analyst, on Court TV, you see her on MSNBC, ABC, breaking down the great cases of the day. She's the chair of Rainbow Push, the former president of the National Bar Association, the largest and oldest black bar association in the world. Indeed, one of our leading lawyers in the country, brilliant author and essayist and critic, attorney Mark Fancher, who's with us today. But let me pivot to you. You've been holding for a minute, attorney Robert Patillo. What do you make of what's happening in East Palestine, Ohio, and particularly when we hear that the Biden Department of Justice is backing Norfolk Southern's bid to block lawsuits? I mean, no one's at fault here. While the chemical fire continues to burn. Oh no, they'll give it to her like they gave her the border, the impossible problem. I mean, just this is just unbelievable, because what they're not dealing with is the corporatization of our government. I mean, Mark Fancher, you can't sue them. There's nothing you could. There's. I mean, it's like what I said. These people in East Palestine and the surrounding areas, they just need to go to D.C. and sit in at the EPA or sit in on the mall. That's what they need to do. You absolutely need litigation. You are right. You are right, Attorney C.K. Hoffler. But that's when litigation and demonstration have to be on parallel tracks, because that's how we get things done. When these people look out of their windows, Mark, they need to see the American people. They really do. This is awful. You're going to tell these people that, oh well, just get some bottled water. Are you for real right now? Oh, talk to me. What are you seeing in East Palestine? I absolutely agree with that. I mean, this is a transpartisan issue. These are private corporations, the Democratic and Republican parties. That's one of the things I was shocked when Reverend ran for president when I found that out. I was like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me the Democrats and the Republicans, these are not government entities? No, they're private corporations that that have boards, and they are beholden to the corporation to corporations. They were completely corporatized in the 80s and the 90s. And look at us. Look at us. You have these people. It's just heartbreaking. And then please, I have an uncle, my Uncle George, who passed away at 20 years ago. And he lived in the south suburbs of Chicago, where they have rolling hills. We don't have hills in Chicago. We're in the plain states. But those are toxic dumps. And they put grass on top of it. But you see flames shooting out of the ground, CK. Flames shooting out the ground. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh my gosh. And and he was living in a cancer cluster. And God rest his soul, he died, along with scores of his neighbors. I'm disgusted. And the answer is, well, you all are safe. You cannot be serious. I I wouldn't, if I could, I wouldn't go back home. But you know what? If I were living there, but what else can these people do? These people are breaking out in rashes. Their animals are dying. Fish are dying. They're like 3,500. So you all went and counted every fish. Oh, CK, I'm going to give each one of you a minute to close. And I'm just so bothered by the fact that corporate media, they're putting the balloons in the sky over what's happening down here on the ground. CK, 1 minute. Mhm. And we need to do it. You got to make them do it. Make them do it. Robert Patillo, 1 minute. Mhm. And you, Attorney Mark Fancher, 1 minute. I'll add a little bit more to it and ain't too particular about cute. This is awful. And you need to pay attention, and you need to call out corporate media for not amplifying this issue. They have us looking up in the sky, everybody. Looking up in the sky. You got Area 51, you got ET, Hollywood and government are tied to each other. So, okay, we get it. There's other life form out there. Or you may or may not believe it. I got you. But you know what? We got something happening right down here on Earth. The people of East Palestine, Ohio, and the surrounding areas, not only are they scared to death, but their animals are dying. They can't drink the water, which means they can't bathe in the water, which means they cannot wash their hands. And on and on and on it goes. And they're being told they can go home. Are you serious? So they can breathe that awful air? Mm-mm. Something's got to happen. Something's got to change. I love you both, everybody. We've got Alderman Roderick Sawyer on with us in just a couple of minutes. I can't wait to speak with him. He's running for mayor, everybody, just like his father, Eugene Sawyer. Love it, love it, love it. Of course, he is building on that wonderful legacy. Back with more of the Santita Jackson Show in just a minute. My beautiful people, thank you so much for being with me today. But it's bothering me that the corporate media are not touching this. I'm like, really? No, they won't. I mean, of course, I'm asking that rhetorically. But what they're doing is just shameful. It's shameful. But you know what? All they're doing is making people angrier and angrier. When you want to know where January 6th came from, you got to be clear. It didn't just come out the sky. A lot of people have a lot of mistrust and distrust. There was just a Gallup survey that showed that more than half of Americans feel that the corporate media mislead them knowingly. We're going to talk about that next week. So, while you're looking at me, like, oh my goodness, while the FBI is spying on Black activists and Black organizers today, you need to be checking out the people who you live with and who are in your own backyard and who are up at FBI headquarters. That's what you need to do. Because a lot of people feel very, very betrayed, and they have been. But they thought they were protected. They thought they were part of a protected class. That's never been true. Ever. Ever. So I love you all. I'm going to bring on the alderman now because I'm not going to get him into trouble with my thoughts. See, I'm going to call you later. If let me know if you have any time later on today. Ooh. But Attorney Robert Patillo. Oh. Okay. Just let me know. That would be great because I was off there for the past couple of days. Had to be. So now I'm back. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, you all are great. And thank you, Attorney Mark Fancher. Thank you, Attorney Robert Patillo. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, blessings to you. Blessings to you. Blessings to you. Do I have Alderman Sawyer with me? How are you? Oh, I'm doing well. It's wonderful hearing your voice today. Wonderful, wonderful hearing your voice. How's your family? All right. Please give them all my love. Please, please, please do. Please do. My father sends his best regards to you, and my mother sends her love. But she's still mad about how they treated your father. Boy, I told her I was going to have you on this morning, and she went off for points. No, honey. Back then is right now. She's mad right now. She's mad right now. And she told me to tell, she said, you tell that boy, you're a man, but you know what I'm saying. My mother's 70. She'll be 79 in a minute. She said, you tell that boy that I said so and give him my love. Oh my gosh. Okay. Whew. I said, well, I'll try not to give him all those other pieces, but yeah, well, you got some salty people. I'll have to tell you about that sometime. I won't do it here, but thank you. But I've got a very interesting story to tell you about that because my parents were in the Middle East when they got the call. You remember that? But I'm going to tell you a little bit more. Oh, well now. Oh. Well, we had seen some things about politics then that made us go, huh? Mm-mm. Stand by. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Santita Jackson Show, WCPT 820, the nation's largest progressive talk radio station, and AM 950 radio, the voice of progressive Minnesota. Over the next few days, I'm hoping to speak with all of the mayoral candidates, and the person who's kicking all of this off for us is someone for whom I have great affection and love, someone I've known long time. Oh boy, a long time. That's right, Alderman Roderick Sawyer. And I cannot introduce you without saying how much admiration, respect, and love we have for your father, the former mayor, Eugene Sawyer, who really, I must say, got a raw deal. Um, Indeed, oh, no. I mean, people don't realize that one of the most politically educated wards in the country was your father's ward. When it was uncertain, when it was not a guarantee that Harold Washington was going to win anything. We had to register his voters, okay? He stood alone and said, I support him, which meant he had to buck the entire machine. And the way the machine works in Chicago, they start denying your people services. And if they deny your people services, then you lose your office. So he put all that on the line, and there was no one closer to Harold Washington and someone who really tried to carry out his mission. He absolutely did, and I think it's important for us to say that. And then along comes his son with all this wonderful education, a former stockbroker who says, you know what? I want to serve the city of Chicago. So he becomes alderman, and now he's looking at becoming mayor in Chicago. The alderman from the 6th Ward, someone who's preeminently qualified to be the mayor. Alderman Roderick Sawyer. It's good to be with you. I just had to say that today. I had to say it. It's just, to me, it's very, very important to say. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, how do you make the city better? I mean, because you've got a significant background, not just in business, but in finance. And people are struggling. And yet the city still has money. I mean, there are still ways to make money here. I mean, but we need access to contracts. We need access, once we get the contracts, we need to get paid in a timely fashion so we can pay our workers. I mean, just given your background in finance and in business, what do you see? What do you see the needs of the people are, and what can the people get from the city? What can we deliver to the city? Hmm. So how so? Mhm. Oh, what changes would you make to the local constitution that would make it easier for us to not just live in this city, to do business in this city? Because it's very, very difficult. Yeah. Please explain. So with an undefined, well, that's what I want you to explain to me. With an undefined aldermanic role, does that give more power to the mayor? Hmm. Let's just run down a checklist. I mean, because we're both Chicagoans. I haven't lived here always, because I went away to college and lived away for some time. But I went to school here, K through 12, and one of my concerns is the public school system, which I did K through 12. And it is possible when you have the intentionality to have top high schools. I mean, okay, you and I came up when you had a Whitney Young, right? And Whitney Young became the hottest school in Chicago. But then you also had Lynn Bloom, you had Kenwood, you had CVS, you had Finger, you had some great South Shore. You had some great neighborhood schools. What about the neighborhood schools? Mhm. Mhm. They cannot even survive. So, I mean, so my question is, does that money come from the city, the state, or the federal government? Hmm. Okay. What do you mean too much overhead? What does that mean? What, why are we not in the same system? What's the what's the justification for that? We're talking with Alderman Roderick Sawyer from the Sixth Ward, candidate for mayor. Many of you don't know that he has an extensive background in finance. He's a former stockbroker, and he's a lawyer, and so he has been able to. He really does understand, um, really have the money and how the money works. One of the ideas that's been put before us is taxing the transactions at the Merc, at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and the Chicago Board of Trade, um, where Congressman Jonathan Jackson worked for a time at the Board of Trade. Um, because billions of dollars of business is done on the floor there. But, I mean, I have to pay tax for gum. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. And it's an well, it's an. I think that you put it. I think you put it brilliantly. It's an obligation. I mean, you come in this city, you make your money here, but then you take your money outside the city. That's not helping us. It's not helping us. But you know what? I want to. One of the other issues, of course, particularly in the aftermath of the killing of Tyree Nichols, and so much that has happened here. We've grown up here. We get it. We get it. The police, our relationship with the police, and really making things right. I want to get callers. I have a couple of callers who called in. They have some comments and/or questions because we're closing in on time. Mama D, uh, do you have? I want you to give us your comment, and so he can respond to that very quickly. Hold on, Mama D. I'm gonna let you speak, but I'm just trying to let you know how it's got to go. Okay, Mama D. Okay. Well, Mama D, I can say this, and of course, you can speak to this, because that, FDR met with A. Philip Randolph, Roy Wilkins, and other black leaders going into the Second World War. Black people were torn and actually did not want to fight in the war because we were getting lynched and we were dealing with segregation and all kinds of insults that were getting us killed. And so they went to they said, "Do you want us to fight fascism abroad, but we're going to fight in a segregated army? Are you serious?" So these black leaders went to the White House. FDR said, "You're right." And his wife was in his back too, as was Mary McLeod Bethune. "You're absolutely right." He said, "Now you need to go out and march and make me do it, because that's the way politics works." Alderman Sawyer. Mhm. So we can get it right, because you work for us, right? We don't. we got we got that twisted. We got that twisted. George, very quickly, I've got less than a minute for you for your comment. Hmm. Hmm. All right. We do have an issue with the police. We really do. Mhm. Because it's in the culture. I've got a minute. It belongs to you. Alderman Roderick Sawyer, everybody, 6th Ward here in Chicago. Vote, vote, vote. Early voting has started. You can now vote in your ward. Please get out and do it. The last day to vote is February 28th, but we're in voting season. Blessings to you, Alderman Sawyer. Thank you so much. Everybody get out and vote. See you on Keep Hope Alive with Reverend Jesse Jackson on Sunday. In the meantime, have a great day. Love you, everybody. God bless you. Thank you, Matt, for a great show. Alderman Sawyer, thank you so much for being with us today. Alf, you know it. You know it. You know that. You know it. I'm so glad. Now I can actually pull the air check and give it to my mom. So there we go. I'll do that. I will. I will. Oh my gosh. You letting people know my mother gets salty, but she does. No, I was like, whoo, what'd you say? Oh, no, your mother let me know. My mom is mad today. Mm-hmm. Well, but when you saw, look, let me get off here. I'm going to call you on the phone real quick. Okay, bye-bye. Love you, everybody.